This is now.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night. Appreciate you guys
Good evening.
hanging out with us on yet another fine Tuesday evening. Get things started here in a second. Let the good folks at Hogs Haven know where we're at and what's up. Appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. It's gonna be a fun night.
I look like the sidecar. I look like the guy that showed up late.
It's
and
a
you're
wide
like,
shot.
Yeah, jump on.
To get the. All right, that's good. To get the helmet, but
It always is.
For just the helmet.
just saying, it
You
always
said.
is. I did say it. You're right. I walked right into that one, kind of. Welcome to our good friends,
That's what Danny Phillips
I'm
said.
in makeup.
Rainey,
That's what Danny Phillips said.
Martin, Anderson, Cohen, AGH.
Who?
I love it. Fellas, good to see you guys. Good to see everyone. Let's get things started. Welcome to Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This is Thank God It's Tuesday. Please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. Give us a like when we give you something to like. We hopefully will before the end of the night. Joined, as always, by, start on the far side, Tim Strachan.
Hey, so there's not a lot to talk about football-wise right now, so I'd like to start with just a nice feel-good story about our community, the First Amendment community. Shout out to Brian Sanders, one of our board participants and a longtime listener of the show. Helped his boy out. He's like an angel on my shoulder today. I found myself coming from Arlington on MacArthur, and I went by his house.
An
He
angel
helped
on
me-
your shoulder.
Yeah, he helped me fill up gas in my car. He filled up tire in my air in my tires, and he's listening right now. So thanks, man. Our community, doing good deeds. Got to throw a shout out to.
Shout out to Brian
Sanders.
Sanders. We always appreciate hearing
All right,
what
bro.
he's got to say. Stay off of T's shoulders, all right? Just
No,
that
yeah,
doesn't
he was
end well
like a
for
little
anyone.
angel.
You guys like
Like-
chicken fighting or something like that? What's going on there? I don't know what's
Yeah,
happening.
he was there. He was
Fighting
there
other
when I
angels?
needed him. He
I'll be
he
on-
had his brother's back.
Kevin Ricka, I'll be on his shoulders later on this evening.
I've tried not to
See,
say
then
much
you
here.
make it weird.
You made it. You started the weirdness.
He was like an angel on my shoulder.
Stop
Right?
saying
That's-
it. You've said it now 4 times.
That's a
and-
that's a saying.
and
It's a
no,
thing. It's a real
no.
thing.
It's a Hallmark
not
movie.
for a 46-year-old man.
It's a
About
Hallmark.
on
another
your shoulders.
46-year-old man.
It's a Christmas movie.
Okay, maybe it is a little bit weird.
On Lifetime
I was trying to
Channel.
throw a
You know
compliment
damn
to
well if you say
somebody.
that in front of Ken, it's going to get weird. What do you think? It's
Right,
not going to
yeah,
get weird?
that's true. This
All right,
is
here's
true.
the deal. I'm very happy to be here. I am a terrible gambler, so never ever
Yeah.
listen to me
Yeah.
ever again. That's why I don't do it. And to be fair, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But my advice, it pretty much stinks. So
I'm great at it
I'm
when I
owning
don't.
it. Yeah.
When I don't put money on it, I'm great.
I also did not do it.
Shit.
And maybe that's why we lost. Elephant in the room. We lost on Sunday. In case you're just reading this note, we did lose on Sunday. That kind of sucked. We'll talk a little bit about that. But before we talk about the game and the X's and O's, and I think it's just important to address the feeling of Sunday. It wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good feeling of Sunday-ness for week 1. It didn't feel new. It didn't feel fresh.
No, it was day 4 after 3 nights in New Orleans.
It was rough. It was rough. It was, the 3 and outs, the inability to get off the field on 3rd down, the injury to our starting quarterback.
The new quarterback on the first sack?
I mean, it's
On the
just
first sack. The first sack.
the oldest guy on our team breaks his
I
hip.
thought
I
you
mean,
couldn't- I thought
you
you
can't
couldn't
rate
get-
this stuff.
I thought you couldn't get a hip sublex. I can't even say it until you were over 50.
Apparently, there was a water
Subluxation.
slide accusation.
Said
There's
it.
all kinds of shit. This is the weirdest town
Yep.
to root for the team in. But I'm guessing because I've only rooted for this team in this town. But holy crap, I love them. And I can't wait to keep talking about him. But you take our starter out 5 seconds. I mean, second quarter, I think he played
Yep.
I don't know, 15, 16 plays, something like that.
3 of 6.
6 passes, 10 handoffs, and a hip thingy. Sweet. Oh, God, man. I just wanted to see him do whatever it is. I don't even know what he was going to do. You guys know I've given him a hard time. I've also said I think he's going to be great for us.
Yep.
And make some silly mistakes, but be great. We didn't even get the...
So let's talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick just for a
Yeah.
second. He's not out for good. He'll be back. He'll be available again, potentially in 4 weeks, but we'll see. I don't know how fast aging Harvard quarterback bodies heal, but it's not an easy one to heal from, and he plays a physical game. I mean, for what he does, he plays physical. So here's my silver lining on the whole thing, and that is listen, we put this team together around the quarterback. We didn't build the quarterback position this offseason. Now, we like where we stood with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we thought we had a good room with him and Taylor Heineke based on what Heineke did at the end of last season. But this team is built on defense. There's a little bit of a problem, but we'll get to that. And speed, talent, speed players, which we still have. It felt worse than what it is in reality, right? Because we did some pretty decent things last year with a pretty crappy quarterback rotation last year, and there's no reason to believe that we can't be as good, if not better, with that. For right now, they got to go out there and do it. Sure as hell better. Let's just get all the badness out. 14 of 19 on third down.
All of it? That would take up the whole show.
We're gonna shoot through it.
I just wanted to. I don't know. I'm searching.
We couldn't. 74% of third down conversion for the Chargers. That's unbelievable. I mean,
Dude.
It just defies everything I ever thought about anything in life.
How do you get 11 more third down conversions than the opponent? We were 3 of 10. They were 14 of 19. That's the part that made the day feel like it was day 4 and after New Orleans trips. That was the gross, greasy part. Like, there was no way. They were nickeling and diming us to death. Herbert's got a rifle cannon, but they were not just
damn good.
He is damn good, but
Damn
you know what
good.
I'm saying? Like, we're asking our defense to stop him. There's a lot of, we'll get to it, but I'm just saying there's a lot of one-on-ones that were just, the victory was so minuscule on their end.
Yep.
Mike Williams used his body to wall off, and Keenan Allen, he's so precise with his routes. He's like a surgeon. And I didn't know Justin Herbert would play like a 5-year veteran. This is year 2 for him. He was a badass. And here's the deal, though, man. They only scored 20 points. And
I was going to say, beat to the chase. They only scored 20 points. You're supposed to win a football game when you hold the other team to 20 points.
But the problem
in the
is,
NFL.
I agree with that on paper, but until you look at the time of possession and you see that,
That
holy
huge
shit,
factor.
They had 12 minutes longer than us because of those 14 and 19, Dinkin and Duncan. They just kept our guys off the field, McLaurin and
27
Gibson
overall.
I'm sorry?
27 first downs overall. I mean,
27 overall to our 15. Yeah, it was just they just dominated the time of possession. I mean, they had 150 more yards than us. We talked about them being yard monsters, but not being great in the red zone. They were decent in the red zone, and they were yard monsters. But I think our defense did the bend but don't break thing, and it wasn't a great week for our defense. Obviously, there was guys out of position. We know that, and we didn't play Washington football team defense the way we
Jamin
anticipated.
Davis's very
There's no
first
doubt.
game of his career. He's not going to be. He's not going to be a
He'll be
star.
better. He'll be better.
We didn't think that. I'm not.
But
he
no,
he wasn't even a factor in my mind. It was.
A lot of new personnel.
They got the
right?
ball. They got rid of the ball. Their game plan is what the game plan is going to be against the Washington football team. Trying to expose the linebackers in open space, get rid of the ball as quickly as possible. And when we have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, these are 2 studs, man. I mean, I know Mike Williams has had some injury difficulties, but Keenan Allen's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's out there locked up in coverage, both of them, with St. Just and opening week. That's a mismatch. I don't care how good this guy's going to be, and I think he is going to be good. But like Rivera said, our young guys played young, and our man St. Just, he was in right position a lot.
Fighting.
But that's the difference between a
The
freaking
ball-
wily veteran with a rocket arm quarterback getting the ball out with.
Those
we didn't
balls
have a
were
chance.
so precise.
They were.
If you look at how he threw,
He was a stud.
He threw the ball. I mean, he was amazing. Justin Herbert was amazing. Now, obviously, I'm going to build him up because he beat us. But it's hard to imagine a quarterback playing better than what he did because not only did he get the ball out fast, but he threw the ball to the off shoulder. He threw the ball away from the corner. He threw the ball underneath the safety.
Dimes.
Yeah. And obviously Keenan Allen caught everything except for one drop he had. But I mean, for God's sake, like it's hard to imagine a team being more precise than them, especially in week 1. It's impressive. I was impressed. It sucked, but I was impressed.
But it was
torture.
again, I think it was more about the Washington football team beating themselves than the Chargers beating them because they had opportunities. They had a lot of opportunities, and the whole thing with Gibson fumbling. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I don't hate him. I feel bad for him. He was playing his ass off, and you could see it. That was an unfortunate, error and mistake that hurt us.
Brutal.
Hurt big time.
He had that
But
ball hanging out. And
I
I was like,
can't
you got to
ha-
cover that up. Then
But
I
I
was like,
can't
wait a
hate
minute.
him for it right now. Unless it becomes a huge problem.
Right.
But I felt like the dude was playing his ass off.
Well, there's no one behind him. There's no one that's going to take over the role he plays in our offense at this point in time in terms of giving the ball. People on the board are already talking Didn't have a lot of targets to Terry in the first half. We didn't have the ball a ton, guys. Logan had 1 target early on in
He
the
was
game.
also being bracketed, and people were going to make the other guys make plays first. Not they weren't going to let Terry make his plays.
What did you guys think about the defensive line, our defensive line?
I think our defensive line was fine. I think they played hard. I think they played tough. The game plan was to nullify them, to neutralize them by getting the ball out with it. The dude's release and his arm strength was sickening, and that's a veteran wideout crew, man. Hey, Austin Eckler didn't catch a pass. That tells you something. They had to keep him in protection, obviously, to load up against this front four. We all know what we talked about. The linebacking crew was the difficulty.
Yeah.
So I think our front four showed up and played the way we expect them to. Each one of them had I think Jonathan Allen had 3 quarterback hits. Chase has his big old highlight play like he does all the time. Deron Payne had a play in the backfield. Ioannidis was in the mix. Those guys played good, man. Our front four was good. I
think Del Rio's catching a little bit of crap. I think people thought he wasn't aggressive enough, especially on some of the third really longs. I seen him catching a little bit of crap today. I don't know enough about scheming defense, but the defensive line, to your point, Ken, they're okay. They weren't terrible, but they weren't great. What we need them to be. But I don't think it was all on them either. I mean,
I don't think they had a chance to be great.
No.
But I think they did their job. I don't think you look at that defensive line and point their finger at them at any level. I think we know where we're pointing the fingers on defense. You're looking at John Bostic in quarter coverage in the first play of the game. It's fundamental football. You got to get wide. You got to get wide with it. You can't just sit there and watch a guy in the open flat. And he's fast, and he made plays. And Cole Holcomb led the team in tackles, and he flew around. But
Holcomb played well.
Those guys are a little bit with a rookie back there, and those two. I don't love our linebacking core.
No,
I don't dislike it, but
it remains a problem.
I think it's average at best, and you have 2 other units out there they're going to be damn good. So we got to figure something out.
So one thing I will disagree with some folks on the board. With 6 minutes left, I don't think you can kick that field goal. Hopkins has never kicked from that far before, ever. His career long was 2.5 yards short of that, and he hasn't. I don't think in his career here, he's been here for 1,000 years, and I don't think he's getting better and better in distance. You miss that field goal, you give them the ball at midfield. Maybe you can argue we should have gone for it. Maybe.
I thought that was the biggest argument. Why not go for it at that point?
But the punt was great. The penalty was garbage. I mean, we put him inside the 7-yard line, and then we let him out with a stupid penalty. We always talk about what do good coaches do. They put their best players that they have in position to succeed, even though they didn't have a great game. We're led by our defense. I agree with the line of thinking, anyways, that you got to get the ball back, put our best unit on the field, pin them, and stop them. And obviously, that's just not what happened.
And let's be honest, neither unit was really giving him a whole lot of confidence in the way they were playing. So you go with your strongest unit, regardless of how the play was going.
And he went with his gut. And here's the deal: they weren't gashing us for points. Like we talked about that 20. They were getting into 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4 situations, and then making us pay for it. But you imagine at some point they're not just going to get this at a 74% clip against this defense, and they did.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Herbert kind of had a coming out party. We all know what he did last year.
And the worst was a 3rd and 16. Was it a 3rd and 16?
Yeah, and John Bostic looking around like, wait, was I supposed to? And I don't know if it was his fault, but just the body language and the previous play suggested to me that he might not have been in the right place. And with Rivera saying there was a lot of guys in the wrong place, I get it why Del Rio's getting a hard time.
Sure.
This is not a Ron Rivera coach, but we did not play like the way we played under Ron Rivera when we started our improvement and got down the right track last year. This was opening day,
last year either.
And I get it, but last year we didn't have an off season. We had a non-COVID. He was a rookie coach. We didn't have a bunch of stuff. There was an idea. This year I had the confidence that we come in there ready to rock and roll. And maybe that's not the best thing to think week 1, but I just thought we'd play with a little more fight, a little more fire.
Disappointing.
And
it was disappointing.
Yeah, it sucked there, man. But I do like Ron Rivera's making these decisions week 1, and you know what? He put us in a position a couple times. And last year I thought he was fantastic with time management. So everyone's just sitting there chomping at the bit. Week 1, there's always those people in the stands that are going to say, "Oh, too many penalties." And you can say that week 1 in any football division, any level in the country. There's those same fans going to say that for eternity. Well, we got to knock out the penalties. I get that, but I just thought a Ron Rivera coach team would show up a little more fundamentally sound.
It hurt more who was making the penalties, Scherf Come on, man.
Multiple penalties from Brendan
Come
Sheriff.
on,
That
man.
didn't happen. I don't know if that's happened more than 2 or 3 times.
I can't remember
in
a
his
time it
career.
happened. I mean,
Right.
if you talk about things that, so again, I hate to be like the same sounding guy, but 20-16, I'll be the guy who says it. I think 2016 against the Chargers is going to look pretty damn good as the season wears on. The AFC West is 4-0. All those programs are incredibly good. Raiders pulled it out last night against the Ravens. I think the Chargers are a good team.
crazy game.
I didn't think they're like the class of the league. I mean, we'll see how they match up against the Chiefs, but 20-16 against that defense and against that offense, I think is going to look okay. And especially when you think about the things that Kevin just said and you just said, the stupid plays that couldn't have been at the worst possible time. Antonio Gibson fumbling on the floor, like, yeah, it happens, but it doesn't happen. I mean,
Right now, it's
not going to happen again this
it's
season.
a shitty break.
It is.
Hopefully,
it
it's
is
not
game
going to be a
changer.
trend.
That's right. But the difference, when you look at the difference in the game, yes, 74% on third down. Yeah, we lost our starting quarterback. Yeah, they owned the middle of the field because our linebackers were in the wrong spot. But still, a fumble by one of our best players inside the 5-yard line on the other side is the difference in the game. You know, they scored 2 plays later. I mean, it's 2 running plays and it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrible taste to have in your mouth, and I want to wash it as fast as I can. And I hate sounding like, Pollyanna about it, but ultimately, like...
Pollyanna?
Yeah, a little Pollyannish.
I don't think he sounds at all like whoever Pollyanna is, but I'm imagining in my head that Pollyanna sounds way better. So proceed.
Pollyanna that has a beard and drinks whiskey.
Nasty ass Pollyanna.
Tuesday nights in the basement. So I will join everybody in like the pity party of it just felt like a Sunday we've had a million times before. Because
I don't
we
want to
just
go to
came
your
up
pity
short.
party.
We just came up short, but I still like our team. I still like what we have going on. I want to move. Is it okay if we move on from Sunday, or do you want to talk anything more about Sunday? I mean, I think ultimately it's not like we covered every single thing, but ultimately we came up short.
Look, again, to put a bow on it, if you want to, I think there were some really
bows.
disappointing individual efforts. I think Kendall Fuller should get called out a little bit. Sheriff has certainly, but it was the guys that were making those types of mistakes that I think was disappointing more so than anything. But I think that we still had the chance to win this game. Again, I think we said this last year when we were making a lot of mistakes and stuff that they still were kind of in it. They weren't getting blown out. They weren't getting their doors blown off. You still had an opportunity to do it. These are correctable things. Hopefully they correct them really, really freaking quick, though.
In the NFL, when you have 30 more, I think it was technically 29 more plays than the other team, that's 29 more chances
That's a lot.
to get to the end zone. I mean, I'm no mathmatician, but that all goes back to the 14 for 19.
Unless you're
on third down.
Ole Miss offense.
We've had a problem with third downs getting off the field for what seems like ever since we got pubes around here as fans. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Getting off the field on third down.
Ding, ding, ding.
So
Yikes.
I
like
appreciate
talk.
I like that. That's the
board
the audio for it. We don't even have to say it anymore.
prompting this T. It is year 2 of the rebuild. Maybe just one comment per week for me at the most on that, and that is, it is year 2 of the rebuild, and yeah, we got a loss. I thought we looked okay against a pretty good team in the sense we made mistakes that rebuilding teams make. We still aren't settled in 2 of the hugest areas of the field, quarterback and linebacker, and we put a hell of a lot of young guys out on the field on Sunday, and that to me is cool. And it also matters in the
It'll
sense
be
of how you
cooler
can
when they get into the right spot because
Yeah,
we are
a lot
fast
cooler.
as F on defense. There's one thing that jumped off the screen. These completions Herbert was making to these receivers I'm telling you, man, our guys were in the right place.
Yeah, the
and
windows were like
tackling.
the football size.
That was high level shit that Herbert pulled out of his.
Unbelievable.
But I'm just saying, our defense is fast as hell. We're giving our linebackers a hard time, as we should.
They're fast too.
They are so fast. If we
Yeah.
can corral them and get them in the right spots,
Holcomb
we
and
can
Davis are
utilize.
speedy.
They can fly.
Yeah.
They can fly. Boston can fly, man.
He
Boston,
can.
we have 3 guys that can fly to the ball. We just got to get them in the right damn place because once again, Jared Cook, another tight end, carved us up for 5 receptions and 60 while the outside guys are doing work. And it just seemed like we were just getting beat like a drum. But We weren't, guys. We were right there. They executed better than we did in week 1. Hey, man, shit happens. We got to go get one now, though, that we're not supposed to get.
Head off to Herbert. Head off to the Chargers. I mean, they played They played a way better game than I ever gave them credit for.
I agree too.
So transitioning to week 2, again in the framework of the things our organization has to figure out as part of this rebuild. One of them involves our opponent on Thursday because we get a chance right away. Now, again, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We got one NFC East opponent for the next 10 weeks, and that's it. And we finished the season with 5 NFCs. This is it. This is our only chance at the NFC East for 2 months.
This is it.
And it's against a team that has been one of the worst teams in the NFL. Now, most people, if you go around the country, say, tell me the worst team in the NFL over the last 8 or 9 or 10 years. Some people are going to say us. Some people are going to say Cleveland. It's the Giants. If you look at the Giants' record, even though the Cleveland Browns were winless one year, they still had a better record than the New York Giants over a 9-year span. The Giants have sucked out loud and somehow, in their terrible putridness, have managed to come to our house and invite us to theirs and beat our ass for no reason whatsoever. How in the world has it been happening? Kevin, can you just give me a little tiny rundown of how they've owned us?
The last 5 games that they've beat our ass in when both teams have been fairly average, and I thought they stunk. They've averaged beating us by double digits in the last 5 contests. We have not beaten the New York Football Giants since October 28th, 2018. Let me just say real quick, though, I want to ask you guys a couple questions about that day. What a big-named game that was. I mean, you're talking about Hall of Famers everywhere and just studs. Tell me what Alex Smith's numbers were that day. We won 20-13. Just guess it. Guess at how many yards he threw for.
I'm going to say he was 9 of 17 for 146 yards.
T-Bird?
He was 65%, and
okay,
you're gonna make it do the
you're
math.
fired. You're fired.
215.
We fired you. 65%. Come on, man. He was 20 of 32, which is 10 of 16, which is 5 of 8, 8 of 5, 60, 20. That's 63%. You were close.
Come on.
You're close for 178, 1-0. I love that. Adrian Peterson led the day. He had a 64-yard run.
Yes, he did.
He had a reception for a touchdown. We had Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson out there dominating for us. Saquon for them didn't get off we held him to 38 yards rushing. Odell Beckham went nuts with 8 for 136. We had 7 sacks. Eli threw for 316, 1 and 2 picks, and we got that done that day. It took 7 sacks over multiple Hall of Famers and superstars, and we've lost 12 of 16 to these turds. 12 of 16. We haven't swept them in a 2-game series since 2011, man. It's nuts. They've swept us 4 times. They're 12-4 in the last 16. I don't get it.
All these numbers are just telling me lead pipe lock.
Lead pipe lock of the week.
Can't do 6 in a row.
I'm keeping my mouth shut on the gambling side of shit.
So we got these guys in exactly 48 hours, and it is not the greatest feeling because of everything he just said. You just know, when you're playing a team that you haven't beaten, it doesn't matter.
Get right back on the bike when you fall off, man. This is great. I think this is awesome.
We've been falling off. We're so far in terms of the Giants. We can't even see the bike.
I meant just
the bike is way far away. Yeah,
brush it off. And
speaking of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Daniel Jones is putting together a resume only against us. He hasn't played great. Period throughout his brief career, but if you just look at his 4 games against us, where he's undefeated, he's played like an All-Pro, and the difference between how he plays against us and his average level of play against the other games,
rushing yards as well.
Oh, he does everything. He's freaking Newt Rockney or whatever. I don't even know what he is.
Well, he led the team in rushing last week with 27 yards again. But yeah, Mr. Jones wishes he was someone just a little more funky against everybody but us. 4-0, this turd just reaches back and yanks out a mean-ass 4-0 against us? How?
Unbelievable.
What? Why? Can someone... I mean, I get the league is the league, and you get someone's number, but this makes no damn sense whatsoever. It
doesn't.
So it scares the ever-living piss out of me on the road on a Thursday night where everyone knows that's a dog. That's like a 10-point freaking how it's been in the last 2 years. So I'm scared. I'm scared shitless now.
I'm worried. Like I always have it. This is my. Whenever I get so before a game, I'm somewhat rational. Outside of like watching games, when I watch my team play, something clicks inside of me, and I become like like when anytime we play Philly, we play the Phillies or the 76ers or the Eagles or the Flyers for that matter. Something about Philadelphia. Like, when the United States men's team plays Mexico, I wonder why we're not at war with this country. When we play the New York
I think
Giants,
he yells, "Nobody bothers Dad.
I
Leave me alone."
I start to think about things like Mara docking us $36 million and us just eating that gigantic turd sandwich. I mean, like, wait a second. Did the New York Giants just fine us $36 million because Bruce Allen's an a-hole? Yeah, pretty much that just happened. Like, everything about that organization, they have everything over us.
That makes him a even bigger a-hole than we all imagine.
I'm like, for God's sake, like, there's nothing we can do where we get one over on these guys.
I know a lot of
I bring that
a-holes,
with
but none
me.
of them are worth 36.
A-holes, turds, turd sandwiches, pubes.
So
A lot going on in the show.
Sounds like a buffet of deliciousness.
A lot
It
going
is
on in the show.
quite the buffet.
I
So
can't keep up.
That's why the ladies love it.
Job
They
one.
always tune in on Tuesday, brother.
This definitely the female demographic is obviously skyrocketing on our
Wonderful.
show. Job number one is okay. So this is my first question for you guys and for the board. Is job number one stopping Saquon Barkley, or is it stopping freaking Daniel Jones?
It's stopping Mr. Jones.
It's got to be
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones.
I would love it if I mean I would love it, but if Saquon Barkley just did what he did and Daniel Jones was had a shitty day, like some part of me would be like, all right, something like the world is balanced out at least somehow.
Dude, they rushed for 60 yards last week, man. They rushed for 60 yards against the Broncos. And I know the Broncos play a little D up there, but I'm just telling you, man, 60 yards rushing, and of which 27 of them are Mr. Jones and 26 were Barkley.
What the hell?
They cannot run the ball, and that defense stifled them, and that's what we need to do is just break them in half. We cannot allow that to happen. We can't. If they can't run the ball, it's just going to be Daniel Jones doing what Daniel Jones does against us and tucking it and running on third down and trying to make plays with his feet. And we got to hope he fumbles like he always does. But, he did last week. He threw no picks. But, he only threw for 267. Their offense is not great, and their defense is not great. And they were down 27-7 with 4 minutes left, guys. They scored a touchdown with 0 seconds on the clock. Yep. So let's not look at that. They got their ass whooped last week.
Yep.
They're coming home. They know they stink, but they got that one thing on us. They know they got our number.
So I'm
matters.
nicknaming this game the turd reversal game.
The turd reversal. Hey,
Somebody's got to reverse the turd.
You got to shove it.
Shout out to Turd
Somebody
Ferguson. May he rest in may
Somebody's
Turd
got to
Ferguson rest
reverse
in
the
peace.
turd
I don't-
trends. I mean,
I don't want it. I don't want it
either 6 in a row, 6 losses in a row, or it's going to be, they have to break a terrible running day with one of the best running backs. Everybody's trying to
Norm.
turn their turds around from week one.
For
This
Norm.
is a turd reversal.
This one's for Norm, everybody.
Cheers to Turd Ferguson,
Cheers to Turd
the
Ferguson.
Burt Reynolds, and we'd like to turn that one around. But
So, okay, on defense, New York does not. That was what they had against us, in the early 2000s. So they had that front four, and that was their strength. We got in the Super Bowl twice against the Patriots. That they don't have that. What's our I think there's already some restlessness, and I'm seeing it here, and I've been hearing. We've probably all been hearing the same thing. I don't know where. I don't understand it. I try to quell it. Like the restlessness about Gibson's touches. I don't understand why people don't appreciate it or understand. Like he's gonna get fed the ball as long as he's healthy. Expect to see that kind of workload from Antonio Gibson, and guess what? It was just fine. Except for the fumble, it was working. He was productive.
yeah, he had 20-some touches for over 100 yards. He'll be one of the more productive backs in the league, I think.
Yep.
And the way we're going to use him is just going to improve as the season goes by. Having a new guy come in and figuring that out right away had to be odd, and I thought he was the one guy that gave us hope on offense.
I know he's not McCaffrey.
You have to establish the run game, especially when the other team is taking the ball from you for 12 minutes more than you're supposed to have it run, 30 plays more than you. You have got to establish run.
Yep.
I mean, you can't just fold up shop and just start throwing the ball over the field with your backup quarterback. We want to get him hurt too. We've got to establish the run, and what a dynamic player we have in Antonio Gibson. I don't understand that either. I would like to have fed it to him a little bit more, to be honest with you.
Me
Just
too.
like to see Terry get the ball in his hands more.
That's true.
Especially early in the game. I remember saying, like, where the hell's Terry? Can we get the ball to our guy? Let's get the ball to our guy.
So let me say about both of those things. One with Gibson. I mean, he's not McCaffrey, but no one's saying you shouldn't give McCaffrey the ball that many times. I mean, that's the way this offense is designed. When you have a guy that has that much of a skill set, right, that you have to rely on a guy like that. So he's going to get his touches. And again, the fumble, I think, is a freak accident. I feel bad for him because, I thought he played his ass off. And you could tell he was pissed and that he let everybody down. And I think that's the accountability that Ron Rivera wants in this team. And then with Terry McLaurin, I think they were bracketing him. I think they said the others have to prove they can beat us before we're going to let 17 beat us. And he just got no opportunities. I do think on a coaching standpoint, there was some adjustments made at halftime that I thought helped. I thought I saw some changes. I saw some adjustments, especially on offense. Terry started getting the ball more in the second half. So, let's hopefully shine a little bit of light where there were some good things. I think that was corrected at least, but they were forcing, either Ryan and then when Heineke came in, who has a much more limited playbook than the starter, right? They figured some things out at halftime and made some adjustments and started getting them the ball. But you got to make him the focal point from the beginning.
Right, but this offense is designed on balance, and when you don't have the ball and you're off the field, listen, I want to get the ball to all the wide receivers too. I love it. I'm a quarterback guy. I love throwing the ball. I love spreading the field. I love big plays. None of that exists without establishing the run. And against a Joey Bosa-led defense who's going up against our rookie right tackle, how often can you drop back and sit back there in 5 steps with Joey Bosa going up against Sam Cosmi in a one-on-one scenario? So sorry, guys. I'm just not going to sit here and say that we should have not run the ball when we were trying to maintain a little field position and time of possession.
Pretty well,
yeah,
especially
I agree.
Yeah,
20 carries for 90 yards. Like, well, I'm not sure why we're arguing about that. I'm not at all. Of course, we will need to spread the ball all around, but we got to start off with the guy. And Antonio Gibson's our guy with Terry McLaurin. Yep. I don't like Terry not touching the ball enough in the first half. I get that. And I don't think he got the ball enough in general. I think he had 4 catches and not enough targets. But that's predicated on rookie right tackle, badass SOB coming off the edge. And let's just say this, Derwin James showed up after his 2-year injury shit.
He's really good.
And he's just,
there
was twice that Antonio Gibson I thought was taking it to the house, except for the other team's safety happens to be one of the top 2 players, I believe, at that position in the league. And I went, damn it, Derwin James is so good. He got Antonio Gibson a couple times that I thought were big games, if not house calls. Ramsey's a badass, but his new position, I don't even know what you call him.
What do you call
he's
Jalen?
A rover, and he's a bad man. He's making plays all over the place. He's no longer out wide at corner, just being ignored.
That's right.
We've got him inside and like a little nickel look, and he's playing like a hybrid live. I love his new position. Wearing number 5, he was all over the place.
That's the coolest thing ever, by the way. But we digress.
He's a bad man.
Let me ask T. You get to go first on this one. Which receiver benefits the most by Taylor Heineke coming in at quarterback this week?
Nicely done. Who benefits the most?
Yeah, which receiver gets, but in terms of targets. So Taylor Heineke and there was a clear answer when he came in last year.
Can I say Thomas?
Can you say who?
Can I say Logan Thomas?
Of course,
because
you should.
With his height, with I think Taylor's pretty good around the red zone. He was in college. I think with his abilities with some touch and to get it up for Thomas to go up and make some catches, I think he benefits. We saw that.
Kevin, which receiver gets the biggest bump in targets because Taylor's
more than half of his yards this week went to Terry McLaurin. When he came into that game last year and threw for 300 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe Terry McLaurin was the primary focus. Yep. Yeah, I think that is the connection that we got to see. Heineke was definitely dependent upon Terry McLaurin last year in that playoff game, and certainly. And because we hadn't gotten on the ball before he got in the damn game, we was relying upon him this week, especially for yards. It's Terry McLaurin, and that's how it should be. We need to make it that.
It
we
should be
figure
Terry
that
McLaurin.
out, Scott Turner. Let's make sure we figure that out heading into Thursday night.
The interesting call, though, that was a result of what happened last year was Cam Sims. If you remember when Terry McLaurin got in games, Cam Sims became he got the biggest bump in targets from his normal bump in targets.
One huge catch.
Well, he was thrown to.
He only played 2 plays,
right?
So I don't think he's going to get.
That was. I'm not talking about this past Sunday. I'm talking about last year when Heineke played. Samuel, if he plays, obviously that kills the Cam thing. But the idea that
Samuel's not. He's not back for a couple weeks.
It's gonna.
But you don't want Heineke also forcing something that's not there.
No, but that's the beauty of when Heike came in last year is he threw the ball in some places. I think if you're a defensive coordinator, a lot of times when you have a new quarterback coming in, you're going to assume that he's not going to be able to progress to the second, third, maybe to the fourth receiver, which
beauty of Heineke, though.
Which Cam is, and that's why. And it's not just Cam. It could be Adam Humphrey. It could be, it could be somebody else. But the idea that yes, he's going to find ways to get Terry McLaurin the ball, but he's a smart guy, and he knows that offense, which is why we brought him in the first place last year. So he knows where that third guy is, knows where that fourth guy is, and if the defensive coordinator is going to try to take away the first two reads, he's shown an ability to get the ball to the third guy. And that was what kept us in the game against Tampa Bay.
We ran 49 plays. We ran 49 plays. That's a tiny amount of plays to be run in an NFL football game. So anyone that's worried about touches across the board has to understand that 49 number gets divided up into a bunch of little.
Yep.
And that's just not enough, fellas. And that has to do with getting off the damn field on third down. And that's part of it. And that's part of how football is played. So that's it. Of course, we want these guys to all get the ball more. We brought on, hey, McKissick didn't touch the ball. I saw him go in motion 9,000 times. He never got his mitts on it. I think Humphreys had a catch early. He was not a factor. So these are two guys that we brought in here as toys. Not guys that we're supposed to get big touches to, but as guys that should be factors in third down scenarios and especially in first down, getting chunk plays to stay ahead of the chains. And those two guys were non-factors.
Who was the biggest improvement this week, Kevin? Of the first or second year guys?
So McKissick's a third-year guy, or is he a second-year guy?
No,
All right. Well, McKissick I loved last year, man.
Yeah, I
loved
know.
his, and we just listen.
Focus on our youth.
I don't know if we need to talk about one of these secondary guys. We got to establish Terry and make them, like T said, bracket him or understand that they need to put two guys towards him because Curtis is not out there. And De'Ami Brown's young ass, who we thought was dynamic, who we tried to get the ball to early on downfield because he can fly, and we got a cool penalty out of it.
Yep.
And I think he had one other touch for -2 yards. You got to see young De'Ami, who we've all got a ton of promise in, step up when Curtis is out. And I know that's asking a lot of a rookie, but we have high hopes for this guy. And Terry McLaurin sure as hell did it 2 years ago. I'm not saying De'Ami has to step up in that level, but because he shocked us, Terry did. But step up. This is your opportunity, buddy.
Oh, huge
Thursday night in New York, on under the big bright lights, coming out of college in the ACC. You never played a one like this. Be lovely to see him make a huge play downfield in the pass game.
T, which first or second year player makes the biggest improvement in week 2?
In week 2?
Yeah, this week, right away. 2 days from now.
I mean, I want it to be Cosme. I want it to be up front. I want it to be, to allow Heineke to have some time and use his legs if he has to, to step up in the pocket and make some big plays. Yeah, Heineke's got to be protected. Listen, there are no starters in this league that are the second string, right? I mean, you just don't have first stringers sitting on your bench. You're going to get what you get. I love the fact we have Heineke mostly because he's smart as hell.
Yep.
He's a very smart football player. You don't need to have the reps, to be a backup, but he'll come in. I mean, some of those rainbow balls, that ball that McLaurin caught,
Holy
I have no
hell,
idea
the
how
hot air
it got
balloon?
there. Wow. I mean, that's stomach churning when that thing's hanging in the air like that. And
I've never seen a ball in the NFL go through
got
the screen at that
safeties
angle.
flying
It
all
went
on-
through the screen
running
at
That's what we
this
said
angle.
last year when he was throwing it. You're like,
Holy
even
crap.
like the HD screen,
I know.
it
Look,
loses the ball. And you're like, where is this going?
This is the most
It's gonna be-
egregious one.
I know. Trust me.
Don't eat food that makes your stomach hurt on Sundays because it's going to be
the only kind of food I eat on
God.
I
Sundays.
mean, it's going to be up and down.
mean,
It's going to be.
What are you recommending? Like
moon
oatmeal?
balls.
Like what do you got?
He's going to be throwing moon balls, and it's just going to be awful.
My
But,
kitchen
I
is
mean, he's
packed
going to
with
make some
terribleness.
exciting plays too. He's a dynamic player.
All
when
right,
he's
so
in there. People
Heineke's
love
a
him.
good answer. Cosme is who we want, and you
By the way,
kind of
Cosme will improve because he will not be playing against a Bosa or Chase Young
Yeah.
in practice.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
All the rookies.
that will be improving.
Miami should.
So wait,
Cosme should.
hold on.
There's so many. St. Juice should. They should all make
You're
a
just going to
huge.
say them
leap.
all? I don't even get to throw one
They
out
should
there?
all make a huge.
All right,
leap.
they should all. We're
I
just
just
going to
said
say all of
Cosme.
them. I think I want to see Jamin Davis, obviously. I mean, that's the one I want to see make the biggest improvement. St. Juice would be a great answer, too, because they're going to throw the ball at him. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm going to be designing every single throw to St. Juice side and
Scheme
make
up
him
Shepard
show.
and St. Juiced. and
All
not to
day.
the boundary, and
Test the
that's
new
trouble. I mean, shit, he was out there in single coverage against Keenan Allen, and the whole universe knew it was over. And then Keenan Allen after the game says, "I told Chase Young, if y'all going to play me in man coverage, it's over."
Yeah, it was over.
And shit, if he was, he
was a
knows
man.
what that
He was a
quarterback's all
man.
about. So he is. Keenan Allen's a beast. So here's the deal. That might be one of the most
So was Williams.
highly effective offenses that we go up against this year with veteran wide receivers, a dynamic quarterback with a rifle arm who's not afraid to put it wherever he wants.
And a good defense.
And an O-line that played out of their ass because the game plan suggested that that's what they needed to do. Just hold tight for a split second. We're going to get that ball out.
So Daniel Jones is not Justin Herbert, despite what he's done to us in recent years. Making him get rid of the ball that fast, I think he could do that because anyone can throw it fast. But I don't know that there's many quarterbacks in the league that can throw it with the precision that Justin Herbert threw it with, in the time he had, in the windows that he had to throw it in against halfway, against long corners. The other thing is our guys are long. Like, we have reach, and the balls were out of reach. Like, that is so impressive. So we're not going to see that, I don't think, from Daniel Jones. But kind of amongst some of the final thoughts in terms of preparing for this game, one thing I do like about our team is not necessarily unlike in years past, because I think we've had 4-quarter teams. Even when we weren't that great, we didn't get blown out a ton, even though we do have our share of them. We're in games because of our defense. We go down 7-0 early in the game, and it looks like could potentially be beaten, Auburn style. And that's not what happens because we do have a roster full of guys who can play. We can give another team 4 quarters of business. I would love to see us get out in front, of a team like the New York Giants. And so my question to you guys, the first question is, if you win the toss, are you receiving the ball or going on defense first? T?
I prefer to defer.
Kevin?
I defer. T's different.
Deferral?
Deferment.
You're
Deferral.
taking the
Either
ball?
would work.
I'm deferring as well.
Okay, you're also deferring.
I'm deferring, no doubt about it.
Okay, so we're going on defense in the first drive, which I like. I probably would do the same thing, and which it kind of flies in the face of giving your offense a chance to get on the board first. Because I also think if they do march down on you and score, we're like, all right, we're going to get this figured out, which we did ultimately get it figured out. Now, the numbers don't suggest we figured a ton of stuff out, but if you look at the game as a whole, the team that we played against,
It's a playoff caliber team.
they are. We need to prove that we are, and we hung.
They almost
with
were
them.
last year.
Oh yeah, they
In a
play.
much-
They play in like the best
Much
division.
better conference. Division.
Yeah, their division is unbelievable.
I wanted to defer, so our defense came out and make a statement. I know, I just know in recent history, Daniel Jones he's 4-0 against us. I'd like to get out there and ring his bell early and often, let our front 4 get loose and maybe get our middle 3 lined up properly and get our guys where they're supposed to be and get Cam Kerr on the field a tad bit more. And I'm not.
We haven't said
Loved
his
him.
name yet. He
Loved
looks
him.
great.
He looks so good. He had 2 pass breakups in 1 drive. He's flying
Back to
around.
back.
He's that guy that gets everyone juiced up. And you know what? He got like 25 less snaps than the other 2 safeties. And McCain was great. I didn't hear Landon Collins' name said a ton, but
Talking about
that
first,
doesn't mean necessarily it was bad or good. But
talk about first or second year guys that made a huge leap from last year for this game. I was going to say it was Cam.
I mean, he looked good. I mean, he
he
played
was
well.
almost the defensive rookie of the year last year if it wasn't for Chase. I mean, that's a stud, and we need him. And,
Yep.
and you know what? Saquon's not Saquon, and I don't care about Shepard. I know he got his 136 or whatever he got last week, something like 113, but he had 7 catches. If we can't shut him down with William Jackson and Kendall Fuller, and then get into some different business with a non-Barkley and let Daniel Jones beat us, it's gonna be a long, shitty-ass year for the good guys.
We've had our struggles against Kenny Galladay in the past as well. So but again, there's no Herbert to Keenan Allen tandem on this team on Thursday night.
No,
there's none of that.
No, they were getting 3rd and 6 in freaking winter in second week of the playoffs with the way they were playing. That was a high level of execution.
And I know Mike
Holy
Williams game
moly.
well, and he has not played that well. I mean, he's been expected
He
to
was
play
a
that well
beast.
for his whole career. He came in as a first rounder. He's a big body.
Huge.
He's fast.
He used that
as
body.
hell, and he's got good hands, and he
was
hasn't
like-
put it together.
He was like posting up on us.
He was posting up on us, and they've been saying all preseason, and I'm a Mike Williams fan. I love him. I'm in fantasy. I've been waiting for him for 3 years, but they've been saying, like, if you read the beat reporters in LA, and they've been talking about how they've been using him in the preseason, and I'm like, yeah, I've heard this a million times in Washington about a million receivers that never worked out, and if he stays healthy, he's a 120 plus target receiver who could easily get 1,100, 1,200 yards and score touchdowns. I mean, he has a 10 touchdown season already under his belt. He's a player, and there's no Allen Williams combo in New York.
He reminds me of Alshon Jeffrey. He uses his body. He reaches out. He might not be the fastest guy, but
he
he's
is fast.
big. I know he is, but he's not like he's a linear fast guy. He's not your shake him up, shake him guy that's running routes like Keenan Allen with precision and is able to bounce and explode out of cuts. He used that big body like a power forward, and he posted up on our guys on third down so many freaking times.
Yep.
I mean, that shit hurts, man. It was old school football. It was and it was
long handoffs.
Here's the deal: we are 3.5 point favorites heading into to Giants territory on Thursday.
Ew.
I know that means that shit. I don't know what it means, because who knows what this game means, because 12 of the last 16 times, not one of us in this room thought we were going down to these thirds.
No.
This needs to be the backup, like Ron Rivera said. You don't want to be heading into Buffalo 0-2, fellas. And Buffalo didn't exactly light the world on fire, and we'll see what happens up there, but they're going to be all right. But this is the type of time. This is the time of year you want to catch some of these teams. Maybe not so much the Chargers, but I can see the Giants, and I can say them saying, "Let's get the Washington football team." They looked like garbage last week.
Yes,
they got carved up by Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and them. We got a chance. So
let me answer a question on the board, and I'll give you guys each a chance to answer it as well. Can Taylor Heineke win outright the starting quarterback job for our team in the time that Fitzpatrick is out? I think ultimately the answer has to be yes. I mean, if you can play your balls off and we could go undefeated and have some improbable, because he has an opportunity to win games that we don't expect that we're going to win. So if he wins games like that and it's because of him, sure. I don't think Ron Rivera is going to bench him when Fitzpatrick comes back. Nor do I think that's necessarily different than what Fitzpatrick's whole career has been. He's gotten in, he's gotten out. He'll get back in. I think the one thing I will say is Ryan Fitzpatrick will play quarterback again for us this season, some way, shape, or form. I believe that because that's how it goes for him, and that's how it goes for us. As long as if he can come back from this hip, but yeah, I think Heineke can win the job if he. But do I expect it to happen? Probably not.
Listen, I went to Catholic University. So did Wally Pipp. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that story since we were little, and of course, if he goes out there and lights the world on fire, it's Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe all over again. Maybe if he lights the world on fire, but we're the Washington football team. We got to make sure Kyle Allen is ready, not just 7 weeks from now getting Ryan Fitzpatrick back. But who's this Shermer guy? Let's make sure he's ready. I was going to say we might have to get
Shermer.
I hope Shermer doesn't have a small dog and a purse.
No, look, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back hopefully, healthy, and if he comes back healthy, I'm almost willing to say regardless of record, irregardless even, he's going to be the starter. I think he gives you the best chance to win. I don't dislike Taylor Heineke. I love the fact he's our backup quarterback. It's what he is in this league. He is a backup quarterback. Listen, you don't think there are defenders on the Giants and anybody else who's going to play the Washington football team and see those types of rainbow balls and go, I cannot wait until we can get him on film and figure this out. I mean, he'll get torn apart if he.
But he doesn't.
He will.
I know, but it hasn't happened yet.
He will.
I don't know, man. I think he's got a good feel for this. I think he understands where to do it, when
to
do it.
He does. That's why I like the fact that I love the fact that we have him. I love it. He's not a starting caliber quarterback. He just isn't.
I don't know, man. I think there's some teams he could start for. I'm not saying
there's teams he can start for.
There's teams in this league that he would be the starter for. I don't think so. He had a shot to beat out a handful of dudes that are starting in this league, especially after what he did in the playoffs. I mean, people got to look at that tape and see it and be like,
dude, Andy Dalton's starting right now.
He plays, Andy Dalton's definitely why. I'm taking him over Andy Dalton any time of the day, at any second of the day.
How much game film is there on him?
On Andy Dalton?
No, on Heineke.
on Heineke.
Well, more heart-filled game tape than you're going to see on Andy Dalton right now.
Maybe a combined of 2.
Well, I know one game where he gave the Super Bowl champion the only game they got.
He's
in
not
the
leading a
winter.
team to the Super Bowl right now. I'm not handing him that. I'm saying there's teams out there that I would rather have him be the starter of than who's starting for them. And Andy Dalton right now is definitely one of them in Chicago. Because I'm not sure what they're doing. Because as soon as they put Fields in,
I was going to say, you think he's better than Fields?
Shit, no.
No.
Take it easy over there, Strachan. But I think he's probably maybe a better option at starting right now because Justin Fields if you put Justin Fields in that game this year in the playoffs after not playing in the NFL, do you think he'd produce the way Heineke produced in the playoffs? I mean, I'm just saying that guy plays with such heart, balls, and moxie. It's a little different.
He
plays with such a swag and confidence that we've never seen.
But it's also a fit. He also knows the system.
Exactly.
That's
why he plays with that confidence.
He was here. He's here because he knows it.
He was in math class last year, guys, right before he came
in
over and started
him.
playing for us.
The way he plays.
I don't care about that, and I care about now.
And he's a
After
prolific
what
passer.
he did in Tampa Bay, I forgot about that.
He's a
He
prolific
stepped up
passer.
in a playoff game against the greatest of all time, and maybe played just as good as he did that day. I mean, I'm just saying.
He pulled him out that day.
And it's the
There's no
first
doubt.
time this whole area has felt that passion from the quarterback position since
Heineke.
Since who? Brad Johnson, maybe? The year he threw for 4,000 with Norris last year,
Yeah, that's a good
99,
call.
when we
That's
had
a good call.
2,000-yard receivers and
Wrestled
a 1,500-yard running
wrestled
back.
the job
and-
from George.
But we love Brad Johnson, and we hated Jeff George, and we didn't feel the same way as Snyder. And, yeah, that was fun. That was a good time.
I loved Brad. Then he went.
Yeah, when he got rid of Gannon, then he got rid of Brad Johnson.
then he went
they
and won a
played,
Super Bowl.
then they
Gannon
played
went to a
against
Super
each other
Bowl.
in the Super Bowl.
Oh, my
They
God.
played against each other in the Super Bowl that we didn't have either
Why
of
does
them.
everybody
Well, we had
leave here and go win
big Heffrey
championships?
Heffrey Jorge was
It'll
not a
be fourth quarter, just getting started. 2 nights from now, when our team's playing New York.
crap.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here and start tailgating for this one?
Don't ever take gambling advice from myself.
Lead pipe lock of the week.
You go ahead.
Look, turd reversal game. Turd reversal. Okay, when the season starts,
Can we at least call it the Turd
when the-
Ferguson
when-
game?
when the season starts off shitty, okay, and you need to turn it around, you got to get your hands dirty, okay? You got to clean it up, all right? You got to get in there and really scrub it and try and fix things.
Okay.
And
I
I
feel like
think
the
the
reversal
Washington
is like,
football team is
put
going to
it
be the
back
turd
in.
reversal. They're gonna reverse all turdy trends that were hurting
that's
them.
right.
You're right.
That were
Turds,
hurting them.
That's a one-way.
And they're going to reverse that. And I think they're going to win like 27-10. I think the defense is going to be pissed off.
I don't want my
think-
turds reversed.
I don't think the Giants are going to do anything on offense. And Taylor's going to have a whole bunch of.
We will have
opportunities.
arrived.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a boring game in the end for the national audience.
Might be time for that.
It's the way
on the
Thursday
Turd
night games
Ferguson,
go.
Everybody,
It's just
We
the turn
appreciate
reversal.
you.
I feel
Turd
like
reversal.
you put a quarter in, and then like a pair of Chiefs comes down and just gobbles up a turd.
Turd
You get it,
reversal
it's like-
bowl.
and you win the stuffed animal.
Turd
Like,
reversal
You have to
bowl.
guide it, and then you hit the thing, and it comes down. It's like,
It's just a turd.
and guess what? Damn, we need a turd reversal in the Turd Ferguson Bowl. I am so sick to
Turd
death
Ferguson
of
Bowl.
those. They've been just as bad as we have. We've been in the basement. For some reason, they just keep toppling us over. I just don't get it. It's really bothersome. And Thursday night's bothersome, and primetime's been bothersome, but not so much for Ron Rivera. So I look forward to us getting that W, but I cannot sit here and I will not tell you guys to gamble on anything. I'm going to be enjoying watching this
Lead
game,
pipe.
and I hope to God we cover that 3.5, because if we don't, oh boy, now we're looking at some serious business heading into the upstate New York scenario.
I have us making big plays. I think we're a big play team on Thursday night. I think we're happy to grind it out if that's the way it goes. But I think that Ron Rivera is going to open things up. I think Scott Turner is going to open things up. I expect deep balls. I expect big plays on defense. I expect our defense to score a touchdown this week. I'll tell you right now, our defense will score a touchdown this week, and we will score at least 2 touchdowns of longer than 20 yards. If that's not big enough for you, I'll give you longer than 30 yards. I think we're going to be a big.
I throw a special teams one in there too.
No, I mean, I thought DeAndre Carter played well. I
He
thought
did.
Tress White played great.
He did.
Our special teams unit, Dustin Hopkins,
Could be a block punt. Could be a block
was
kick.
fine. Dustin Hopkins, missed the 51-yarder. Not the difference in the game. Ultimately,
Doesn't have to be a return.
Doesn't have to be returned.
Could be a muffed punt that goes in the end zone for a touchdown.
By the way,
I'm throwing a special teams.
We just went another week without.
I'm throwing a
mentioning
special
muff.
teams touchdown in
Guys,
there.
You just
No,
muffed it up.
Special teams gets a touchdown too.
he muffed it.
You just wrangled
he
him up.
special teamed it. No one even texted me after the greatest fruit basket in the history of our franchise in recent years. The Justin Herbert throw into the end
call.
zone that was a touchback.
That made no sense.
It was a Herbert throw fruit basket. That's a fruit basket.
That was
It was
an
a fruit
overhand
basket.
through. That was an overhand
fruit basket.
Yes, it
That's
was.
exactly what it was. I was like, we got a fruit basket.
Usually fruit
We
baskets
never
are
get that call. I was like,
underhanded.
it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally that's a crazy scenario and something weird. He actually threw that in there, and then they were like, fruit basket for the good guys.
I honestly,
Proceed.
Unbelievable.
I thought the commentators actually said. I mean, clearly from the
They did.
Spiro Day-Days is getting choked out by me in any airport I see
Jay
him in.
Feely, really?
That was the
loved to
worst
talk.
combo of their voices
Loved
were
to talk.
piercing.
Oh, here we go.
They
And
did.
that-
Great
and that-
kicker.
this
I
is
wanted
me
to,
bringing it
I,
up.
I wanted to.
got
Honestly,
great kicker
I
stuff,
yelled "F you" to Day-Days like 90 times. Who the fuck is this guy? Who's he talking about?
that's
What's
CBS.
he talking? What is he saying?
Fox has learned very well to give us their 6th and 7th team announcers. We're not on CBS very often, and we got. Oh God,
Is Jay Feely the first kicker broadcaster since Pat Summerall?
Summerall drank and was so much funnier, and drank and was so much more
Yeah, he
egregious.
was-
He was a
good.
punter, correct?
I think
kicker.
he was a.
He kicked. He just did a lot of kicking.
I think he kicked.
Yeah, he was a
He
kicker.
kicked extra points and field
Yeah,
goals.
I think they're the only kicker broadcasters.
All right,
I
right to
don't
left.
know.
Final score prediction.
I said it, 27-10.
Kevin.
Good guess.
27-10, good guys. I'm gonna say 30-20.
You think they're going to score 20 on us?
I'm gonna. Well,
It's week 2. Daniel Jones.
They're going to score the same amount as the precise,
No, football
surgeon
games
of
go
Herbert?
so different. That's not what I'm basing it on. Football games are crazy, you know. that.
34-10.
I don't know.
We're only
I think
giving up 10 points. We're scoring 34.
34-10.
wow, you're really feeling it.
I am predicting an offensive.
You should throw a special teams touchdown on top of all that to get to 34.
No, if our defense scores a touchdown, that's 2 field goals and a touchdown. That means we're only getting 21 out of our offense.
Okay.
So, which I think is just fine. Two of those touchdowns are going to be from long distance. I believe. 24-10 from AGH, 27-17. Greg Martin, Robert Cohen in with the 28-20. I also think we're talking. I think if we give up more than 17 points, I agree with whoever said it on the board. We've got to flex our muscles on defense and hold teams. We got to keep points off the board. We're capable of doing.
We got to keep them in the teens.
Low to mid.
At max.
At max. That's right. That's why I got 10 points.
These turds had 7 points with 4 minutes to go in last
Yep.
week's game. Let's call it turd a turd. We've been doing it all night.
Yep.
They're not good. That's what's bothered us so greatly, especially the last 2 years and a half. 5 times in a row they were not good and gave us the business by double digits on average in the last 5 games. That's really horrifying.
Yep.
And Rivera has not beaten them yet as the head coach. That's the only team in the division he hasn't
gonna
given
change
work.
that. We are
Football
going
is
to
all
change
about
that.
odds and angles and look, this can't continue. It just can't. That's why it's the lead pipe lock of the week.
We're shoving that turd
This-
right back where it came from.
With
Right
the
back up
lead
into
pipe
New
lock of
York's
the week,
butthole.
He's Tim Strachan.
Can't wait to have a turdless podcast next weekend or next week.
All right. I'll,
Go
Always like that.
WFT.
Kevin.
You better be doing a podcast somewhere else next
Yeah.
Tuesday because
Let's
we're
actually.
bringing,
I want
we're
to talk
bringing
about.
a bowl full.
Can there be positive turd talk?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to positive turd talk next week.
Yes. Daniel Jones, the most positive turd we've looked forward to
we go.
beating. It'll take us 5 tries to beat his mysterious ninja-like ways against the football team, but I feel like it can't last forever. And it might start that way for a half, and it's Thursday night. It's going to get weird, but I believe Chase and the boys up front will wear their ass down. And
They're pissed.
our defense got
wouldn't wanna
embarrassed
piss
and
them off.
exposed, and this offense has nothing to do with the offense we saw last week, and this defense doesn't either, to be fair. So let's go on the road and take care of business. But a lot of young guys going on the road to New York City on Thursday night under the big bright lights for the first time.
And get
Shit.
ready for what I consider to be the greatest one of the greatest experiences of an NFL season. As much as we love Victory Monday, Victory Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is pretty damn good. That to me, that if you win on Thursday night, you have one hell of a weekend in store for yourself. That's what I want for us. We'll be back next Tuesday night to cover what we expect to be a win in New York. Finally, please give us a subscription. It's for free. Give us a like. We appreciate your time. Thank you to everybody who had a good time with us on the board. Good luck to all you guys going to the Pearl Jam show on Saturday.
Where?
Hopefully you're doing it up in New York. There's a group of guys that are going
Well, if
up.
someone was smart enough to schedule that, that'd have been a hell of a trip.
That would have been a hell of a trip.
Eddie on freaking Wednesday? Wait, tomorrow's Wednesday, right?
Tomorrow's what? So
Oh, he's on Saturday.
it's on Saturday.
I don't know what you do Friday.
Asbury Park on Saturday. Pearl Jam.
There's got to be a college football game in the region. That could have been one of the greatest
Oh,
planned
that's-
weekends of all time.
Greg, you let us down on the planning.
Eddie Vedder on
Rhett-
Thursday.
you know what?
College
Rhett
football
Donnelly let us
Friday.
down more than anybody else.
I mean, the Redskins Thursday, a little college Friday, something, or maybe a little high school somewhere, and then go see Eddie on Saturday. And
May you all enjoy a Victory
Yeah.
Friday, Victory Saturday, Victory Saturday.
say a prayer
Sunday,
for our man
Victory
John
Monday.
Tier. He's heading in there on Thursday. He'll be just fine. Our man, he'll be fine. He'll be just as tough
With
as
you,
the
brother.
Skins in New York. He'll be watching that game on Thursday night. Love you, brother.
We will see you guys in exactly 1 week. Thank you so much once again on behalf of First Amendment Sports. I'm Ken Marigold. This was, thank God, it's Tuesday. E8 and AGH and Greg Martin, we are still live.
I mean, Broadway opened again.
Yeah.
Taking a Broadway show for the first time in a
It's
year
nice
and a
how we
half.